This
Well,
conference will now be recorded.
ta-da! It's all official now.
Mhm.
Cool. Well, thanks for jumping on this call, Zach. We definitely wanted to um, just sort of touch base with you after you did like the coaching with us, and just get a sense of you know your experience working with us, and also the work that you did, and just to kind of reconnect and like go over all the things that you completed in basically the last 90 days, which was pretty awesome. So I was kind of like your coach on this, so I saw it all. Like Roger has been peeking at it and like giving me like, oh, this looks awesome, like along the way. So I'm gonna let Roger chat for a little bit too.
Yeah, I would actually say that I was super excited to see the kind of work that you were doing, especially because I'm a big fan of 3D and that's kind of my background. And kind of seeing the character creation and everything and some of the imagination you had behind some of the stuff was wonderful. It's a refreshing look. Like during the day, I do art direction for a game company, but we're not doing the style of work that you're doing. So it's always really nice to kind of see that style come to life and kind of like see the iterations and honestly see you go from step one to step 10, however it takes. And it was awesome to see the kind of guidance come to fruition. And I think you really grabbed hold of like what you were trying to do by the tail end of this, and things look wonderful.
Thank you. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great to hear.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about your background and like maybe what made you reach out.
I mean, I'm a Columbia student, um,
Nice.
and graduated as a game art major with a character focus, and left school, got an internship doing technical art, which kind of wasn't really a super great internship opportunity for me. And then I kind of fell into a QA position at NetherRealm, and I've kind of been doing QA up until maybe like the pandemic, basically. And then I've been doing like technical support now. So I've kind of been stuck in these tech roles and haven't really been able to um, get my foot in the door in an art position. It's been really hard for me to manage work and free time and also portfolios and developing my skills and trying to network. So I kind of felt like I've been floundering since graduation, trying to figure out how to pick myself up. And honestly, I hadn't even really considered coaching until I was talking to my therapist, and he's like, maybe you should have a career coach. And I was like, well, I know about Dave's Chimirus business, so maybe I should try that.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely, because it was cool that we did work together in the past when you were at Columbia and I was their teacher there. But it's definitely just awesome to like work with you again on this. And I don't remember if you had Roger or not there, if he
No,
came after. I can't remember.
I don't think
Roger, I don't
so.
think I've ever.
I think I might have picked up the tail end of some of the classes, but Zach,
Hmm.
I don't think I had you as a student. But I also taught there for a handful of years, probably maybe just a year shy of when Dave was teaching there. And I think honestly, kind of like your journey, being stuck in the technical side of stuff and not having the opportunity to kind of polish your art. Sometimes, like, and your therapist was right. Sometimes, like, finding somebody dedicated to what you want to do, that can help encourage you and give you some advice that has experience within the industry is probably the best opportunity and option to take. Because I think the day to day grind kind of keeps you doing the day to day stuff, but you
Mhm.
almost have to kind of separate yourself from the day to day stuff to do the things that you love. It's almost like you're within industry but doing technical stuff, and it's like
Yeah.
breaking in sometimes can happen there for sure, but it's always almost can pigeonhole you a little bit, and you might get too comfortable. And it's fantastic that you had the revelation to kind of like break out of that mold and kind of reach out and do something slightly different.
Yeah, for sure. And like that accountability was really what I needed. Um, Especially because like I got an ADHD diagnosis during the middle of the pandemic. Um, so just figuring out like, oh, it's not just that like I'm not pushing myself hard enough, it's like I need to be accountable to somebody and I need like a project and I need like direction.
Yeah. So, well, I guess just to go off that, so then what did your coaching involve? Like what did we do with you?
Um,
Or can you walk us through it? Like can you share your screen and
yeah, for sure.
walk us through any of that?
Um, well, actually, I can go to my post on ArtStation because that's going to have the biggest accumulation of
Yeah.
my work. Let me get that up and then I can share my screen.
Which is probably just about like almost half of the work, really, because there's a lot more to that stuff.
There's a lot of the
From
biz dev stuff
what I
on
remember.
there, but we'll see if I need to find anything else.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. So a lot of it's managed through here. And
Yeah, so how did this all start out? Because I remember because you're a really good 2D artist, you have a really fun
yeah,
style.
well, we
And
started
then
by doing like a full intake of all of my career interests and my artistic interests, what I felt like my strengths were, which I felt was a good opportunity for me to sort of collate all of the stuff that I had accumulated over the years and try and like figure out, okay, what really is my focus, which I kind of had ideas about and inclinations, but I hadn't really figured out what my strongest abilities were and what kind of companies I could really apply myself to. And like, I can apply to a company that's making like, a Halo all I want, but they're really not going to look at my style and see viable art there. Um, and I kind of thought about going the mobile route for a long time, but just kind of never really went there with it in my portfolio. Um, So I think that that's really the better angle for me. Like at this point, I think like a mobile studio is probably the best like first step for me. And I think that we really targeted that and developed a brief that was specific towards that goal. Um, Started working on projects that were kind of around that. We did like those warm ups with all the shapes and more abstract characters to try and kind of simplify my own style, which I can be very detail oriented. Uh, so it was good to kind of be forced to think in more simple designs. And then we started doing all the actual character development for the defense survival game. And that's where we started going through all of these iterations of different kinds of characters. This was like all the first pass stuff, which was just very loose and rough. And then once we kind of had an idea of which ones we wanted to polish and what ideas we wanted to go with, we did another second pass with these three, started to focus more on like color and get like the actual style, um, and then do like a final render. Um,
yeah, those turned out awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, I could definitely see the one thing as you kind of add to your process. As you went through this process, you can even tell within your sketching, the strokes were more confident, they were more concise, and like you still were able to keep things loose with emotion, but like the direction and the angles you chose to use with your sketching definitely felt like it has leveled up.
oh, awesome. Okay, well, I like to hear that. Here, let me open up the actual model.
Yeah, because you also did some prop design too, and then you did the final character
Yeah.
design as
Oh,
well.
that's right.
The
The
final character models.
model doesn't have all of the post-processing effects on it.
Yeah.
That's fine. We can. Oh, come on, brain.
Oh, you had that? Didn't you have a link to a Sketchfab that had it all in there?
I did. Let me pull that up. Hmm.
Um, yeah, because like there was because you did prop design too, you did some prop renderings, and then you did some model sheets for that as well, and then you did a model sheet for the character as well.
Where did that go? I had the link.
I wonder. It might
Right,
just be in
here
your
we go.
history if you start typing it. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Alrighty.
Yeah, and so this was like, a mobile-esque stylized kind of like painterly, like zombie apocalypse type game, right? So with
Yeah.
like we had these spore mushroom things that you designed, and then like, yeah, this was the final rendering of somebody who's been like completely taken over by the spore.
Mm-hmm.
So like during all this, like, did you have any like aha moments or things that resonated with you or clicked like in this program?
Um, I did. Let me see if I can think of an actual example. um, I mean, I think one was just the workflow itself and kind of knowing, like, as we were kind of talking about the project, realizing, like, oh, I can visualize the entire pipeline and I do know where this is going to go and I can kind of see how this is going to develop over time. And then once we were like getting into the sketches, I'm like, okay, I can see how this is starting to shape in my head. And I'm like, can, it was basically like an I can do this. Like I know where this is going. Um,
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're getting, well, that's building confidence, right? It's like you were able
yeah.
to let it like unfold and like see like, okay, I know what we're doing with this. I know where we're going. And just being able to visualize like the end result is,
Hmm.
a big chunk of like how you do it. Like you have to be able to
Yeah.
see the light at the end of the tunnel when you're going through the process.
Yeah, I think like a lot of times artists tend to, and I've done this myself, where you're kind of working on something and you drill so far down, it's hard to kind of see how much further you have to go because you're so in the weeds with the details. But having the ability to kind of step back, maybe a few steps, just to kind of like look at how much you've completed and kind of taking like broad strokes to things until you kind of get to the details,
Hmm.
does really help a little bit, and it can keeps your motivation going as well too.
Yeah. Well, it's so easy for me when I do my own projects where it's like, oh, well, maybe I'll futz around with hairplanes for a while, and oh, I need to do this kind of stuff with like like pore level detail, and oh, I need to do this kind of thing over here, and I kind of just like bop around to a bunch of different stuff, but nothing. My more involved models don't tend to get finished as easily. Like I tried to do like a realism model, which like is still something I could finish. Um, but I just kind of kept bopping around to different things, and like I'm not really terribly into realism anyways, so like it just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, I think that's something that we help with is just like you said, accountability and like keeping you on the rails and like knowing what to focus on too. Because like even I think every artist has this is like you work on things and you get distracted and go down rabbit holes in your own work. Like, oh, let me go do this for a while, and then your progress slows down because you're just getting involved with different um, aspects of it. Where we kind of keep it like on the job. Like, hey, there's only a certain amount of time. Let's only
Hmm.
focus on the essential things to like get it as close as to the 80-85% mark to get it done, um, without getting into like the weeds and all the stuff. And then if there's time later, like yes, we could go back and polish it or whatever. But it's basically about getting to that mark and only focusing on what you need to like get it to that mark. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
and I think and yeah, like we were going through that process. Like we would definitely have discussions about this where you had all these ideas, and I was like, wait, I'm like, hey, let's like, what do we really need? Let's just make a list. And it was like
Yeah.
these 5 things you need to do to like get this to stick a fork in it. Um,
Mm.
so yeah. Um, so what do you feel like the results were of your coaching?
I think that I got great results out of this. I feel like this was a big confidence booster for me. It helped me stay on track. I felt an actual sense of progression. I felt like I produced professional level polished work. Um, and I don't know, I just feel like I saw myself excel a little bit more than I thought I would.
I saw that. To me, it's pretty easy. So, um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, you did so much in like such a short amount of time. Like I know your website has stuff on, and you have a ton more. Um, but yeah, it was awesome to see how much that you created. Do you feel like the experience was worth it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was definitely apprehensive at first because I was like, I don't know. I was really nervous about it. But I definitely think I got my money's worth.
Awesome. Um,
Is
so I
there
guess, oh, sorry, go ahead, Raj.
is there any potential maybe words of wisdom you can provide other folks that might be considering stuff like this or thinking about like kind of how to get their work to the next level?
Um, I mean, I definitely say that how would I phrase this? Like, if you're gonna, if you want art to be something that you do professionally, it is something you're going to have to invest in. Um, and like for me, I always thought like, well, I don't have to really spend a lot of money on a lot of the stuff that I'm doing because I'm just going to dedicate a whole bunch of time to it. And if I dedicate enough of my time, eventually I'll get somewhere. And what I didn't realize was that that really was the hard way, and it's not really necessary to do that. And honestly, like having things like doing classes, hiring, career coaches, getting tools. Like, I mean, I'd even put off like getting Substance Painter for so long because I'm like, I just didn't want to spend the money on it. And I really should have just seen it as something to invest in.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I definitely, I think that's something that's just very um, challenging, and I think it's great that you kind of came to this um, kind of epiphany where it's like, hey, I need to invest in myself to get to where I want to be. Like, I
Yeah.
need to show that I can do this art because you
Mhm.
can do it. Like, you have the talent, you have the ability, and clearly you made the time for it. I know you were spending,
Yeah.
a decent amount of your week, working on this stuff, but because of that, it's like you totally like leveled up and did a huge amount of work, and like now you have all of this that you could show that when you're applying for jobs, like you definitely like
Mhm.
stand out more. And Roger and I both hire, and these are the same things that we see all the time, where it's like, you're not alone. It's like there's a lot of people, and I've been there myself, where it's like you get in this part of your career where you're doing something it's not necessarily where you want to do. You want to get to the next like point in your career, the next job, but like you just don't necessarily know what to do. And it's where it's like I have had like a mentor, like I have friends, and I have things that I like. What should I do, and get help and feedback to like grow at my craft,
Mhm.
because I'm an artist as well. And even like now as leaders in leadership roles, like we're looking for um, investing in ourselves to learn more about these roles, even though it's different than art. So it's like, you took that and invested in yourself, like we invest in ourselves to get better at our craft, to have like a more meaningful life and do what we really want to do. Like that's the goal of all of this, is like you want to work in games, you want to do art, um and that's awesome. And so like I'm super proud of you. Again, I know I've told you this before, but like you've accomplished like so much in a pretty short amount of time, and the quality of your work was awesome. I can't wait for you to get it all put together and up and sort of ready to go. But you invested in yourself, you changed your mindset, you dedicated time to it. you put your energy into it, and you created like this whole awesome little world that it's awesome. So
Yeah,
cheers to you, Zach.
thank you.
Yeah, it was really it was interesting because like I kind of got to watch from a little bit of afar. It was really great to see the dedication and the time you put into everything, and then just kind of how it evolved. I think when you know we saw your stuff in the very beginning and we were talking about you know what your potential was. I think honestly, Dave and I were extremely happy to see it kind of exceeded what we thought was going to happen. So that's a wonderful thing, and I think
Nice.
that's truly like you know a result of your dedication into valuing you and your dream moving forward in terms of being in games.
Yeah. Um,
Awesome. Thank you.
I mean, that's pretty much all that we have. Again, we just wanted to connect and sort of, just talk about your experience. Again, like celebrate, if you haven't already, like definitely do some self-care, get yourself
Yeah.
out there, take yourself to a nice dinner, buy yourself something like
Oh,
you,
I've relaxed
you,
this
you
week. I didn't do anything.
relaxing is good too. But thanks for trusting us. Thanks for kind of investing in yourself and like getting yourself to the next level. We're always kind of here for you. We're just a resource too. So like, you're on the Slack channel. Feel
Yeah.
free to like, if you have questions about jobs or if you have questions about like interviews or any of that stuff, like we're still a resource for you. So definitely we
Yeah,
want you to keep
absolutely.
in touch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and when
I think
I get everything polished, I'll definitely post that there as well. Oh,
yeah.
sorry, Ewan.
Oh, I was going to say if I mean the idea like one of the main pillars that we had when we were starting to build out Chimerus is just building the right type of community. And folks that have been with us always remain on the channel to kind of ask questions and be a part of a group that's interested in similar things. So, like Dave was saying, if there's things that come up, if you see things that we're doing in the future that look interesting, always feel free. You'll always have that Slack channel up you know, open to
Nice.
you moving forward. So,
Awesome. Well, I don't want to take too much more of your time, Zach. I know you're done with work and you're ready to just kind of be done for the night. But thanks
Yeah.
for jumping on the call. Thanks for going through the coaching with us. You did amazing work, and keep in touch. I know
Yeah,
we'll
of
we'll
course.
continue to um, connect in some capacity. So
Yeah, and thank you guys for all the help, all the direction, and just honestly, like it was just for like being a confidence booster. Like that also was a big help. Was definitely not feeling great about my work at the time, so
yeah, how do you feel now?
definitely a lot better. I don't
Awesome,
feel uncomfortable about my portfolio.
awesome.
that's great. It's really good to
That's
hear.
great to
I
hear.
think,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah, and you've earned all that confidence, you know, going through this process. And I think we're excited to kind of see the things you kind of take from this and do next as well too.
Fingers
yeah, and
crossed.
that's great for us to hear too. Like that's what makes it worth us. Is worth it for us. It's just
Yeah.
like yes, you feel better, like you're confident. You
Hmm.
can show that your skill and your talent. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Zach. Well, take care, my friend. We will talk to you later,
Awesome. Thank you
and
guys.
keep in
Oh,
touch.
Right.
Bye.
bye.